Welcome to this series, God's Principles for Healthy Relationships. We have been advancing through many different episodes and we are getting closer to the end. My name is Debbie Raj and I'm here with my husband Martin, and today's topic is wise counsel. How to get the help and nourishment needed for their relationship. In Proverbs 1:5, we have a wise counsel. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. So it is recommended to be wise, to be willing to listen to wise counsel.
I want you to imagine something. You're joining a soccer team, right? And there is no coach, and there is no one to guide you. And as soon as you go and play the match with the rest of the team, there is no one to guide you, there is no one to tell you how you could do it better. Will that work? Not really, because everyone has their own idea of how to play. Everyone has their own way of playing and seeing what is best for them. And there is no guidance, there is no experience, there is no third person's perspective. And it won't help, right? And that is why we say we need to have a counselor or a therapist or a coach, so they will be able to guide you in your relationships.
So when we started our relationship and our courting together, there were some things we were not really matching. We were not really understanding each other's perspective, and we decided early on, after a couple months, that we would have basically counselors and mentors for our relationship to just be able to move forward with more clarity, with better tools from someone with more experience than ourselves. And God led us to actually our church's pastor and his wife. And it was such a huge help. I remember the first time we got there to the session, we actually were not sure what to expect. I had never gone to a session with my boyfriend to talk about issues, and I was like, how is this going to be? Will I be able to be myself, express, and will he be genuine enough and not be fearful or lying? Or so there's a lot that can be revealed once you take the step to work on things and go and receive counsel.
Yes, and while we were going, we had issues to the counselors. It was so interesting because we didn't know what to do. We were going in circles. We were trying to understand. I'm like, I'm not able to understand this girl. And Debbie was like on the other side, she was crying. I don't know what to do with this thing. But then when we went to our counselors, we shared our hearts out. And then we were able to see something from a different perspective, something that was very unique, and I've never seen it from that aspect. I was like, wow, this is really powerful. And I started really enjoying that session. And when we came out of it, we both felt like we were drawn closer to each other than ever before. And that is when we realized how important it is to have counselors in life. Now, we will look at the point of maintenance, not just having issues, but maintenance, because prevention is better than cure. What do we need to do to have a healthy relationship? We don't want to always have issues and then go to the counselors, right? We want to have a good maintenance. The first one is take time to understand how relationships, how love works. If you go to a college, you take at least 4 years to study a subject, whether you want to be a doctor, engineer, lawyer. Of course, those are the three first things I'll have to say because I'm an Indian. In India, those are the only jobs you can or you have to go to, or else your parents will disown you. But anyway, but for you to go and study, you put so much effort. You take years spending to learn about your interested subject. Now, how about love? Do you spend enough time to really study and understand what love is and what the other person is going through, who the other person is?
For maintenance, another thing that is important is to seek counseling or coaching, not just when you are really faced with a struggle and now you really have to look for help because your relationship is falling apart, but as maintenance. If you see it as something that will empower you, will give you tools, like when you go for checkups to the doctor, just to prevent disease from creeping in that you're unaware, that's the same mentality that can help you be prepared beforehand and not when it's too late and both of you are like, we're done. We don't even want to try. We're so tired and just we don't want to keep up with this. So it's very important to see relationship coaching, mentorship as something that can be preventative. And we are so grateful to our counselors, our pastor and his dear wife, because they did that in their marriage. And they were like 10, 15 years older than us. They had more experience. And anywhere they moved, they would find some marital counselor to be with them as they would get their primary care physician. So it was just so refreshing to see a young couple with children, their family, but they were taking their marriage seriously and working on it. So their perspective was very encouraging for us. Like, yeah, we have not heard this so much, or our parents were not of this mentality, and we want to implement this in our marriage.
Absolutely. We wanted to, and we did implement, and it has been a blessing. Now, when issues arise, don't wait till too late. Tackle it as soon as possible. Work on it quickly so that it will get better. So you will actually see if there is a good partner or not in the first place, because the moment you have issues, you will be able to understand how it is working. And if the other person doesn't see your issue and they want to live the way they want to, you have to back off, because you are going to marry that person for the rest of your life. You're going to go through those issues. So tackle it as soon as possible, and it will show you if that person is willing to make changes or not. If they are willing to changes, of course you both can grow together. But if the other person is not willing to make changes, if the person, as Debbie said, if the person is not being truthful, being honest, or sharing anything openly with the counselors and for you to see, then it is a red flag and you cannot move forward in that.
It's very, very good to recognize those signs. How are we going to tackle difficulties, challenges? Are we willing to work on it and do whatever it takes for it? And the last part of maintenance is treat your relationship as a treasure that you want to keep long term, not just as a gift that is disposable and after a few years you will switch it, return it, but something that you really want to be in the best healthy condition long term by God's grace. So that is a decision that prayerfully we need to make and commit to whatever it takes. We will keep this as a treasure and do whatever it's needed to keep that maintenance going.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now with the maintenance, we have to look for healthy habits, right? What are some healthy habits? One of the things is reading good books, healthy relationship books. Read them together. We have shared different books that we've read and we have recommended. You would be able to find it in other episodes, so we are not going to repeat them again. But please feel free to go and check out the other episodes so you will know what books we are referring to. And those have helped me personally to understand how a relationship works. Without that, yes, I can go through life, but why to reinvent the whole wheel again when there are other people with experience and those that have done research have put information. And when you already come into a relationship or while you're in the relationship, you know what works and what won't work. So have good books, good quality books, not just some random book someone recommended, but do some research, go to reviews and check the reviews, what they say. You will know which books are good, and it will help you to have a good, healthy habit in your relationship.
And regarding the good quality books as well. Many of them come with very practical exercises that can be done to help ask questions, interact with each other, and just get to know each other better. So it's not just reading information, but practically implementing and discussing and learning more about each other. So there is also mentors. So not only resources like books or classes, there's many classes nowadays, online courses on almost any topic you can imagine, and there can be very good resources. So even if not the whole thing is like perfectly done, you can always get tips and information that you can add to your toolbox to have a healthy relationship. But the other thing is mentors. Try to find, it can be a pastor and his wife, or a couple that is spiritually grounded, balanced, that you see they have a thriving marriage, more experience, that you can go to, and not that they are the voice of God. God is your main source, but that they are mentors. Mentors are the ones that share their experience, that help you with things they've learned, that they can guide you and give you a different perspective in what you are looking at. And suddenly it's like you're like, oh, I see it now, or wow, that I never thought about that. So it can be very, very helpful, eye-opening, and encouraging in the journey as you're trying to keep your relationship healthy long term.
Totally agree with it. And when we started our counseling sessions with our mentors, they were able to relate with us because many things that we went through or we were thinking, they have experienced it already. And they were able to relate with us, and they would say, yeah, I was like this, and then this what was helpful for us, and this is what we adapted. And it was a beautiful sessions. They were beautiful sessions because we were able to connect with them. They were able to understand what we were going through. They were able to empathize, and it is more of a positive thing than a negative thing. So, but now we will switch to something a little different. What should we be careful of? Be careful with uninvited mentors. There are some people that will creep into your marriage, creep into your relationship. Initially, it might seem like they are genuinely interested in your relationship, but then soon they would start planting unnecessary doubts and fears and confusion that is not going to empower you, but it is going to break your relationship, even your marriage. So be careful, very careful with who you are choosing as your mentor, and those that are not your mentors, don't give them a chance to share their opinion or ideas about your relationship. You have to safeguard your marriage.
Very important. And the other thing is, don't take mentors as the voice of God. I kind of mentioned it briefly before, but mentors, counselors, even therapists, they are not God, but they have taken training and experience that can be of benefit, and not necessarily everything will apply to you, but there can be very good resources you can take with you. And what doesn't apply, you can leave it aside. What doesn't really fit in, or you're not sure, you can also pray and ask God to show you clearly how you should implement what they are offering, suggesting, or recommending. And so mentors, counselors are not the voice of God. We should have our personal journey, but we should consider them and listen, because we can always learn something new, something useful.
Yes, and the next one is to not become codependent with your mentors. There are some people that become so codependent with the mentors that anything they say, they will follow, the people will follow. So try not to become codependent. As Debbie was sharing, they are not gods, and you cannot become codependent with them either, because it is not a healthy relationship. Even in relationships, we say to avoid codependent relationships. Then how much more we need to be careful with the mentors. Yes, they have good resources, they have good experience, but you have to live your life independently, trusting God. But codependency at any level with any type of relationship is going to ruin that beautiful experience that you will have with people. So avoid codependency, whether in relationship or whether with your mentors.
And when you do have mentors, something to help not get into that codependency stage, it's to not do it constantly. Like for every little thing you're thinking, planning, everything you run through them as the voice of God, and you take their suggestions as the voice of God. It happened to me personally. I had a mentor and I appreciated the support, the counsels, the wisdom, but then I kind of felt like everything I needed to run through my mentor to make sure I would live my life. And then that can lead to, it was codependency from my side, but that can also lead to more dysfunctionality. And then the mentor might become more controlling or feeling more entitled to your life, because naturally when you give too much of your life on a regular, consistent basis, it's not a very healthy pattern, and that leads to codependency with any relationship, but specifically we're talking about mentorship. So the good thing is to get counsel, but also that your mentor points you to Christ, to principles from God's word, to tools that you can implement. So they're not just feeding you the fish, but teaching you how to fish so you can become stronger and more mature in your journey. So you will need them, but it's like going for the doctor as well for every little thing. Instead, it would be learning from the doctor how to eat better, how to take care of your body better. And then when you really have certain needs or for maintenance, you go for regular check-ins, but not for every little thing. I sneezed today, or this is hurting, and so everything, then you become too dependent and you cannot make your own decisions. So that can lead to the last one, that is, be careful with mentors that try to control, manipulate, and be in the place of God for you. That's not the role that God has called any of us to be. So we need to be aware when we are trying to be mentors to others, not to make them feel like they should become dependent on us and our wisdom and our experience, but on God. We're just channels to point others to the source of wisdom, of truth, share what He has done in us, but be careful with those dangerous little zones that can creep in.
Yeah, and it can go both ways, right? They can try to control and manipulate and force you with doing things, or you can surrender to them completely, that you are willing to listen blindly whatever they have to say. So there is a balance, and the counselors, the mentors, the therapists, they should be empowering you, not trying to tell you every single step, guide you like a little baby on how you have to live. Because with babies, when they fall, they will learn how to stand up again. They will learn how to walk. They will learn how to run. Anytime they fall, you are not going to make your house so cushiony that even if the child falls, the child is not getting hurt. No, they have to fall so that they will know how to rise up. They will have to get hurt so they will know how they can avoid getting hurt. But this codependency or forcefulness, what it's going to do is, it's going to make you handicapped. And if there is a difference, of opinion, or if you're not able to reach out to your mentor, what's going to happen is you're going to feel handicapped. You're not going to attack or work on your situation by yourself. God has given us wisdom. God has given us freedom. Utilize that freedom. Utilize that wisdom. Ask God to show you when there is a need, when you see, okay, this will be the time where I will have to ask my coach, my counselor, or my therapist, then go for it. If not, don't use them as your brains. Don't use them as your thoughts, because God has given you a separate brain that you can think and you can process.
In our own experience, many times we would go just for a little, to have extra tools how to have a healthy relationship. So we started that when we were in a relationship, and even before premarital counseling. And it was so useful. Many times we would come out and be like, wow, I learned something new about myself. Now I know better how I think or why I'm doing this. Or, wow, those stories and experiences they shared opened our eyes to realities we did not see before. And we always would pray together. There was always a biblical foundation in our times together. And there were always practical tools they would leave with us so we could go and implement it and have better communication, better conflict resolution, just a better relationship. So it's really empowering when we're willing to take the step of maintenance and also create the healthy habits for our relationship.
Yes, and now we are going to share the challenge for this episode. Find a book, coach, or a mentor that can be of support in your current journey. Now, don't conclude that you have to be in a relationship to find a coach, or you have to be married to find a therapist. Even while you're single, you can find a coach that will help you to be prepared for finding a relationship. Or even if you're in a relationship, they will be able to enhance it. And recently, I don't know why, but for me it had never been an issue, but recently my wife, after sharing, I recognized that a lot of men prefer not to have a coach or counselors to make their relationship better. But we don't know what is causing it, because I don't know what is causing it, because I was willing to have counselors and I was all for it. But if you are a guy or a girl and you feel like you don't want to have a counselor, just give it a shot. Give it a try. Find good ones, of course. Find good mentors or coaches or even books. Try to find them and start working on that relationship process while you're single itself, and you will be able to see you can have a better start at your relationship and eventually even for your marriage.
Yes, and coaches and support is needed in so many stages of life and in different areas. Like recently I got a coach for my wellness journey, my exercise and fitness, and it's just very empowering to have someone leading you, empowering you, giving you tools, keeping you accountable. And so we all need support. We all need accountability. We all need help to move forward and not get stuck and kind of like, oh, I'll do it one day, but really take this step and start moving forward. So the second part of the challenge is write 2 healthy habits you will include in your relationship as maintenance.
And the third one, this is the final challenge for this episode, is write the name of a spiritual couple you trust, that you could have them as your mentor. Now, whether you're single or you're a couple, write a name. Or if you have couple names, write their names. You have observed this couple, you know that they are really spiritual. They are not being spiritual for as formality's sake, but they are genuine Christians. They are really spiritual, and you choose them as your mentor and approach them, ask them if they would be your mentors.
And we will close here with this topic of wise counsel. We'll leave you with some food for thought. What are you doing in your life, even if you're single, for maintenance of your mental health, your physical body, your spirituality? What are you doing in your marriage or your relationship as maintenance to help it not only stay stagnant, but keep growing forward and being a treasure that you can keep long term? So with this, we want you to think about the challenges, implement them in your life, and remember that God wants to be our greatest counselor, but He also uses people, resources to assist us in that journey so that we don't feel alone or stuck, but that we can get tools and keep moving forward in our Christian walk that will impact our relationships as well. So may God bless you, and we'll see you in the next episode.